Tom Bartošák-Harlow is Director of Communications at the International Chamber of Shipping. Tom, thank you so much for joining us. Has non-oil cargo shipping, Maersk in particular, actually benefited from the Gulf instability?
So I think what you're actually seeing from the results that Maersk have announced today is the importance of shipping to the global economy. 90% of everything we use, we consume, is moved by ships such as Maersk, and I think that's what you're seeing in the results today. Clearly, the closure of the Strait of Hormuz has had impact on particular elements of shipping. You were talking about another company's results there. But I do think it shows that shipping is generally quite resilient. Even when there is that geopolitical instability, we're still able to move the things around that the global economy depends on.
And I think there's been so much focus on the impact on the movement of oil because it's so critical for global economies. But the truth is very little cargo, apart from oil, is my understanding, goes through the Strait of Hormuz. Nevertheless, if we look at Hapag-Lloyd, they also don't move oil. They were hit harder than Maersk. Why?
Yeah, so I mean, they'll have their own individual reasons for that. It's not for me to speculate on those sorts of things. But as you highlight, different companies have different exposures to different situations in part of the world. The Strait of Hormuz, the attacks we've seen in the Red Sea have undoubtedly caused an impact across the global shipping community. We ran a recent survey of shipping leaders which showed that geopolitical uncertainty is their #1 concern at the moment, and that's clearly impacting results across the shipping industry, the better for some, for worse for others.
So I've got to ask, for your shipping forecast, are we smooth sailing from here, choppy waters ahead, particularly if the instability in the Gulf region continues?
So it's clearly a really uncertain time for shipping at the moment. We're seeing continued attacks in the Middle East, in the Red Sea, and that's not generating confidence in the shipping industry that it's going to be smooth sailing ahead. But it is a very resilient industry. The seafarers that work in it are resilient. They work to deliver that 90% of everything that we consume across the world. And I'm confident that the shipping industry will continue to do that, whatever challenges are put in front of it. We all hope we return to smoother sailing as soon as possible, and we see the attacks on shipping in the Red Sea, in the Strait of Hormuz, stop as soon as possible, because that's going to bring confidence back to the industry and hopefully see more positive results in the future.
And which areas or regions are you looking at in terms of where the demand is really growing?
So you're seeing that demand is growing in the major economies of the world, the US, Europe, and that's in part why some of the issues in the Middle East are so serious. Things such as the transit through the Red Sea. If you don't go through the Red Sea, you've got to go around the bottom of Africa. That's adding costs to products that are being transported to those parts of the world, and we need to see that stop as soon as possible so we can return to safer waters for everyone.
Just finally, on Maersk, can we say that this company moved quicker than perhaps other cargo shippers to capitalize on the crisis and perhaps to avoid further problems?
So I think one of the things I know Maersk have done is they were very quick to respond to looking at how they needed to move cargo in and out of the Strait of Hormuz and the region without necessarily putting it through on vessels. And I think if you look at what some of their comments they've made today around making sure that there's investment in wider logistics networks at ports, rail, roads, to ensure that cargo can move seamlessly, that's a really important point. And I think the more we see that investment across the world, the less impact we'll then have when there's these geopolitical incidents that do mean ships are put under threat and can't travel through certain parts of the world.